Oh, good. You're awake.
Finally, let's get you plugged in and up to date.
Hey Brian, is the neural connection stable yet? Welcome aboard, volunteer. Oh, shh. Hey, I know you don't remember volunteering. You don't remember where you are. You don't remember who you are. That's normal. It's totally fine. It's totally fine. Don't worry. It's just part of the thawing process. I'll get you all caught up as soon as I get through this tutorial, okay? All right, you trust me? Okay, you should trust me, okay? I'm here to help you, all right? So anyways, just try to pay attention, okay? So today I am going to brief you on the functions and operations of a very important piece of equipment that you will be utilizing for the rest of your waking stay in orbit. Yes, you're quick. Look at you, you're thawing out fast, aren't you? So anyways, I'm gonna be showing you the Klowra vane. This is a pitch shifting pedal that glides and slides and ramps in all sorts of fun, creativity inducing ways. You are gonna want to collect the entire line. And good news, once I get you fully compliant and certified in the operation of the vane, you will also be compliant and certified to operate the Everlast delay, the Sprout modulation, and the Limbo reverb. So let's not waste any more time. I want to get you up to date and filled in as fast as possible. Here is my dry signal. And Tony already told you earlier about the two Princeton's rig. I don't need to go, okay, you caught a little bit of it. All right, so anyways, let's get started. Check this out. This is a fun way for a pedal to turn on. It does the same thing when you turn it off. Your interest is piqued, I can tell. But wait, there's more. That's right, it ramps on and off. But it also has a secondary ramp or glide or whatever you want to call it to a secondary setting. Isn't that great? So before we get into all of that, I'm going to show you the basic features of the pedal. Like any good pitch modulation pedal, it has a blend control, a mix knob, for going fully wet, or fully dry. Not sure why you'd want to do that. Oh, it sounds awful. Let's turn it back on. And it has a rotary control to allow you to select in between a bunch of different sounds. That has been a low octave, obviously. Oh, by the way, it defaults to a higher octave. This is 2 octaves up. 1 octave up. A 5th. A 4th. A major 3rd. A minor 3rd. A major 2nd. A minor 2nd. And a detuning setting. I'll show you how to get to that low octave setting. All you do is hold down this button and select the low octave that you want. Double low octave. Does anyone need this setting? Yeah, someone does. I don't know why, but they need it. Let's blend in the dry signal a little bit to make that make more sense. low single octave. That's the one I'm most likely to use. Low fifth. Low fourth. Low major third. Low minor third. Low major second. I want to know who's using second settings on pitch shifting pedals. I don't have the theory for it. That is the minor second. And then, of course, that detuned uni setting. I wonder if it's any different than the high octave uni setting. I'm imagining uni means unison, so probably not. Yeah, I think it's exactly the same. Let's scroll back to that single low octave. Or high octave. Forgot to hold that. Go through some of the other obvious settings. You might have noticed there is a rate and a detune knob. Actually, let's go back to the high setting for that. The pedal is in stereo, by the way. I felt that shift in stereo and it gave me some goosebumps. They're not joking about the detune part. When you bring up the rate and you realize what's going on is you've got a pitch modulation on top of all of it. Some really pretty, like chorusy sorts of sounds. I like it fast. So yeah, you can get all the way weird and wacky if you want to. Now let's get into the controls for that blend in and out. What do they call it? The glide. They're really easy to understand and access. It's just these two knobs right here. You turn them down and it goes fast. Pretty much instantaneous. You turn them all the way up and it goes slow. Let's say you want one to go fast and the other to go slow. You can do that as well. And vice versa. But what about that ramping feature to get to that second setting? Well, you access that by first making your second setting. So let's make something wild here. Actually, let's do a high fifth A little bit of blend. A lot of speed. By the way, you can also control the tone by holding this down and tweaking this guy right here. So let's get it real bright. Now we'll save this setting by holding this down. You saw it flash purple? That's the second setting saved. So now we'll dial in our first setting. Let's do a low octave. And we can control it same way we controlled these by setting those knobs. You can use these two knobs by holding this function. So let's make it fairly slow, in and out, for that ramp. I think we need a helping hand for this one. There we go. Some help from the hand. I wanted to go faster. Let's make it almost immediate. Faster! Give it a little bit more blend. Actually, let's do a fast blend on and a slow blend off. You can also attach an expression pedal. Because of course, if you're gonna make a pitch modulation pedal, you gotta have it controllable with an expression pedal, right? So to operate this, you need to switch into this secondary yellow mode here. I'm gonna plug this in and the light's gonna flash red. And then I ramp this back and forth and it detects the function of that expression pedal. There we go. So that's still ramping from that low octave to that high fifth. Let's dial in a very classic toe to heel whammy sort of thing. With a little vibrato on it, why not? And I dialed back the tone a little bit, so we'll save that. Now the heel is full wet low octave up to that high second octave. There we go. You can also bring the blend all the way back on the heel, so when you're on the heel, you're just clean and dry. I like doing that because you can hear that low octave blending in and shifting across the throw of the expression pedal. It's pretty, especially when you pair that with like a delay or a reverb after it. So let's unplug this and I'll show off this yellow function on here. It's actually a momentary. So I'll turn these down real low. So if you want to do momentary little flutters like that, you can, on and off. It no longer goes to the secondary setting in this mode unless you have the expression pedal plugged in. By the way, you can also plug a foot switch like this into that expression control jack to control the basic functions of that foot switch in case you want to have this on a desk or something like this, or off in a rack somewhere, but you want to control it from the stage, or you just need a secondary hands-free sort of option. You can plug in a foot switch and have access to turning it on and off and holding that ramp feature with the second foot switch. So let's turn this off and then we'll go to yellow. Now you can momentarily ramp it on and off. Let's go for a high octave. I like that you can do that too. You can pump it to get like a very Looney Tunes sort of sound. It's an instrument. Sometimes pedals are an instrument, and in this case, it definitely is. Let's ramp to that major third with a little help from the hand. I want to blend it. The fifth. Congratulations, volunteer! You are now compliant and certified in the operation of the features and functions of the Klowra vane. Wasn't that easy? Wasn't it fun? It's so powerful. It does so much, but it's really not that hard to understand. And once you understand it, you understand the other pedals, which we now get to explore. We're not going to do the full deep dive that we did on this because we don't need to. We learned everything we needed to learn from this. Let's apply that knowledge to the other effects. So each of these has a little bit of a different thing going on. You'll notice that the vane is mono in, stereo out, and the rest are stereo through. They also don't have the glide controls. They don't glide on and off like the vane does, but they do have the ramping controls. So you learned all that from the vane. Now you can apply it to the other three. This is the sprout, the modulation pedal. Very simple, easy to understand controls here. You've got rate, depth, and mix. All three of the other pedals feature a texture control, which controls various different parameters of the different programs that you'll find on this rotary knob here. And of course, we've got a tone control on the modulation and on the delay. And then we have a size control on the reverb. Pretty easy to understand stuff here. And you've got secondary features on all the top knobs. It tells you underneath what those secondary features do when you hold down this button. We're starting off on the vibe setting. I'm not going to spend forever on everything. Let's do a quick run through of all these settings. There's a chorus. Is gone into vibrato because the settings are pretty extreme. But of course, we can dial that back and get a more classic chorus sound. Beautiful. Then a multi-chorus setting. Beautiful in a different way. Flanger, flinger, however you pronounce it. Let's go full depth, nice and slow here. By the way, there are all sorts of ways to power up things where you change the stereo, like the way the signal runs through the pedal, whether it runs in full stereo or wet, dry, things like that. There's all sorts of little tweaky extra things you can do. Go check out the manuals if you want to find out all of that sort of stuff. A filter setting. Oh, also, this pedal and this pedal feature tap tempo. And there is a secret sub-menu power-up thing that you can do. Oh, it's the rhythm. You hold down the switch right here and select different time signatures, subdivisions with the rhythm control. I think I did it. Anyways, there are different subdivisions that you can select with the rhythm control when you are holding that secondary feature. And of course, you go to yellow. And you can do your ramping and gliding to secondary settings. Let's mess with that. We'll save that. And then we'll go nice and slow here. Bring in the helping hand. On to the phaser. Yes, there's a phaser. Rotary. You know what? We still need the helping hand. fun three-dimensional surround sound stereo thing going on with that. All these run in mono, obviously, as well. But when you've got a stereo rig and you're a demo channel, might as well go stereo, right? Oh, tremolo. We're in stereo and it is hard panning. So I remember on this one, the texture controls the duty cycle. No jokes. That's not funny. Keep that humor in the bathroom. So duty cycle is the width of the on and the off section of the tremolo effect. So all the way to the right, it's mostly on. All the way to the left, it's mostly off. You apply that to delays and reverbs and stuff like that, things get wacky really quick. Let's throw on that pitch. I like that brisk, hard chop. Too cool. Of course, you can dial in more normal sounds. On to the very last setting on the Sprout, which is a ring modulator that does some very wacky stereo stuff itself. Just ridiculous. On to the delay. Let's make this quick, right? And it's got all the classic settings that you could expect. Tape, digital, analog, reverse. And then it's got things like swell. Where the repeats swell in a little bit as you play. For an almost reverse sort of sound sometimes. And yeah, it makes spaceship noises. Of course it does. On to the granular setting. Same as the Sprout, this has tap tempo. When you hold that down, you can trigger it. And subdivisions underneath the rhythm secondary setting. Texture controls the density of that granular glitch. We've got a crystal setting, because why not? To get all that crystal lattice sound. A sweeper setting, which apparently applies almost like a crybaby sort of sweep to the delays. Oh man. These things should all be sold together in a blister pack. They really do belong together. There's so much fun you can get to combining these pedals. All right, last setting, modulation. Let me show you real quick how to get into a ping pong setting, because right now it's on this kind of like stereo surround where it kind of swells back and forth in stereo. You unplug it, you hold down the foot switch, plug that in, and then I think right is ping pong. Oh, gotta turn it back on. to the reverb. Oh, by the way, this has a yellow mode too. Which allows you to ramp in between, you know, a phase setting and a preset setting. Because of course it does. Let's bring in the hand before we move on to the reverb. Oh, that's a good sound right there. Yes, please. Aren't you glad you woke up for this? On to the reverb. It has a swell setting as well that I started out on, but it starts with a hall setting. Stereo in, stereo out, texture, size, decay, bright, mix, and of course your rotary control. This one has a freeze and hold sort of functionality. And in the yellow setting, you can ramp in between, you know, your preset and your phase setting. Use your imagination because you can do so many crazy things with your imagination and these pedals. Back to that freeze setting. There's actually two different ways to set up the freeze with a power up sort of thing. I've got it set to the infinite setting right now, which listens to your playing and changes the note that is frozen as you hold it. So it'll just hold that note forever as long as I hold this until I play another note. While holding all the other notes that I previously held with it, so you can build these big, massive chords if you want to. I'm not going to go back to the stock setting, which is just the regular freeze, which will just hold one note and then you can play over it sort of situation. Let's go through all the settings here. So that's been hall. Here's church. Full mix, just to be safe. Yeah, let's max it out. Oh, by the way, there is a pitch modulation on that side. So if you're ramping in between settings with either holding this or an expression pedal, etc., there are pitch sounds to mess with. Hell yeah. On to the room sound. Then a spring setting, which you know I'm about to explore for a little bit. It has a pre-delay setting when you hold this down, so I'm going to roll that all the way off because I'm going to try to dial in a surf sound, and you don't want any pre-delay. when you're dialing in a surf spring. Has a little bit of a click. Now on the spring, the texture dials in the drive to the spring. So I want that all the way up. I want the bright pretty high, bridge pickup. It's not what I would call a surfy spring reverb, but there's plenty to mess around with there. Clearly this reverb is more friendly towards like ambient sounds. Or ambient, however you pronounce it. A plate setting? Swell. Swell's a good one. Hazy. We got a shimmer reverb. And then finally, the tide setting, which is weird. It's a really strange one. It makes your reverb sound like ocean waves. I've gone too deep. Aren't you glad you learned about these? Aren't these fun? It's neat that once you learn one, you kind of learn them all. And then you kind of want to have them all, right? I have them all right now, and I still want to have them all, even though I actually have them all. Just there's so many fun sounds that you could imagine you could make combining these together, ramping things and expressing things with expression pedals and things like that. Oh man, they're a bunch of fun, and they're not expensive. It's crazy. The price point that these are at for the features that you get, it's ridiculous. It's just ridiculous. Go check the link down below to see the price, because I can't believe it. I can't believe how affordable these are for how much they do and how good they sound. By the way, you want to check the technical specs too. I don't understand everything in the technical specs, but it mentioned 32-bit float and dry analog through and stuff like that, and 24-bit what's it whatevers that I don't understand. But I know 32-bit float means that you're probably not able to clip the signal if you're throwing some sort of like super high output thing through this. It's not going to clip it. It can handle whatever you throw at it. That's my assumption based on that information. But yeah, I'm pretty dang impressed with these. They make some really fun, wild, and wacky sounds. Very creative and expressive pedals here. So yeah, are you glad that I woke you up to get you fully compliant and certified with these? I bet you are. But don't worry. I'm still going to tell you who you are, where you are, what's going on, all that. Just stay tuned for all that. But anyways, to everyone else at home who's watching, yeah, there's people watching this right now. Thanks for watching. Please like, subscribe, dislike, leave me a rude, nasty comment. Support us on Patreon. Buy a shirt if you're naked. Huge thanks to Klowra for sending these all out to me. Click the links, guys. And you know what? Stay grounded. Bye, everybody.